Lewis Hamilton reveals Ferrari needs a big change, the FIA makes a shocking admission about George versus Max, and Lando gets advice on how to not crumble under pressure. Let's get into the latest F1 news. Lewis Hamilton's recent comments about Ferrari have left fans intrigued and speculating about the current state of the team. After yet another podium miss, Hamilton's cryptic remarks have put the spotlight on the challenges facing the Scuderia. He emphasized the urgent need for upgrades to the SF25, an issue that has been a recurring theme throughout the season. During the Canadian Grand Prix, Hamilton found himself in a position ahead of rival driver Charles Leclerc at the race's start. However, as the laps progressed, he fell behind, highlighting the ongoing struggles Ferrari is facing this season. Ultimately, both Hamilton and Leclerc finished 5th and 6th, trailing behind the leaders after a dramatic race that saw Lando Norris bumping into his teammate Oscar Piastri. While Ferrari managed to secure additional points with this double finish, the reality is far from celebratory. The results have sparked concerns within the team and among its fans, especially given that neither driver seriously challenged for a podium, let alone a race win. Hamilton reiterated his call for necessary upgrades, insisting that the team needs to improve. "I'm asking for these upgrades," he voiced during an interview with Sky Italia. "I don't know why we haven't been bringing upgrades. I think we have one, hopefully coming soon." This statement underscores the urgency he feels towards enhancements to the car and the strategies employed by Ferrari. However, there seems to be more on Hamilton's mind than just updates to the car. After making a significant switch to Ferrari from Mercedes, where he spent 12 successful years, Hamilton is discovering that the transition is proving more challenging than he had anticipated. Despite bringing years of experience and success, he is yet to achieve a podium finish in red, sitting currently 6th in the driver's standings with 79 points. In comparison, Leclerc leads with 104 points, reflecting a worrying pattern as Hamilton struggles to catch up, with an 8-1 record against Leclerc in their direct encounters. The need for transformation appears to extend beyond just the SF25 itself. Hamilton noted, "There's a lot of changes that need to be made in the system." His desire to share more insight showcases a level of frustration, but he remains vague about the specifics, hinting at complexities within the team's operations. "I wish I could tell you what's happening," he added, implying that underlying challenges may be contributing to their current performance. As fans watch the unfolding scenario, the question lingers. Can Ferrari regain its composure and return to the front of the grid? Hamilton's statements suggest a hope that the team will soon implement changes that could realign their competitiveness. The road ahead for Ferrari and Hamilton is uphill, but there's a collective ambition to turn things around. This situation holds significant interest for motorsport enthusiasts, as not only is it a battle on the track, but also a deeper struggle within the team. Will Hamilton's calls for action stir Ferrari into progress? Only time will tell. Hamilton's recent comments have sparked discussions not just about Ferrari's current struggles, but also about the overall direction of the team. He emphasized the need for change, stating, "There's a lot of changes that we need. For me, it's that foundation building. We're not fighting for a championship." This sober assessment comes at a critical moment as rumors swirl regarding Ferrari team principal Fred Vasseur's future, given the disappointing start to the F1 2025 season. Hamilton, however, stands firmly behind Vasseur. He expressed his commitment, saying, "I love working with Fred. Fred's the main reason I'm in this team." This loyalty reflects Hamilton's belief that Vasseur is key to turning the team around. In Montreal, he reiterated his support for the Frenchman, asserting, "I want Fred here. I do believe Fred is the person to take us to the top." It's evident Hamilton views this partnership as vital for Ferrari's resurgence in the competition. Switching gears, the excitement continues in Formula One, with events like the premiere of F1, the movie in Hollywood, where F1 drivers lit up the red carpet. Lewis Hamilton, fresh off a 6th-place finish in Canada, remains a pivotal figure in the ongoing narrative of the sport. Hamilton's recent experience in the Canadian Grand Prix was far from ideal, as he had to navigate the race with structural damage to his car. The unfortunate circumstances surrounding this damage highlight the challenges F1 drivers face on the circuit. Despite the obstacles, Hamilton's resilience is a testament to his dedication to the sport. He continues to strive for success, both for himself and his team, amplifying the intensity of the competition. As F1 enthusiasts look ahead, questions linger about where drivers like Hamilton, Verstappen, and Alonso rank in the all-time point standings. This ongoing quest for supremacy keeps fans on the edge of their seats, eager to witness how this season unfolds. In a sport where records are continually broken, the thirst for knowledge, be it contract statuses, circuit changes, or win percentages, remains unquenched among fans. So, stay tuned as we dive deeper into the exhilarating world of Formula One. Toto Wolff recently expressed his disappointment over what he termed as petty maneuvers by the Red Bull team during the Canadian Grand Prix. The Mercedes team principal made it clear that he finds it hard to imagine Max Verstappen, a two-time world champion known for his competitive spirit, being part of such antics. This latest episode unfolded in Montreal, following a dramatic Spanish Grand Prix clash between Verstappen and George Russell. In that race, Verstappen was penalized for causing a late race collision with Russell, which may have set the stage for heightened tensions when they faced off again in Canada. As the race began, Russell secured pole position with Verstappen closely trailing behind. However, the much-anticipated action early in the race didn't materialize. Instead, the scenario heated up late in the event, particularly when a safety car was deployed. During this incident, the accident involving Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri brought the race to a standstill. But it was a brake check by Russell that caught Verstappen off guard. The reigning champion made an unexpected move, overtaking Russell while under the safety car, a situation that triggered a flurry of radio communications. Russell wasted no time voicing his concerns over the team radio, claiming that Verstappen had unfairly overtaken him during the caution period. This prompted Verstappen to quickly defend his actions to the Red Bull team, stirring the pot further. In the aftermath, Red Bull controversially protested the race results, accusing Russell of breaching specific sporting regulations by braking erratically behind the safety car. They argued that he should be held accountable for exhibiting unsportsmanlike intent. However, the FIA stewards promptly dismissed the protest, labeling it unfounded. In a strong retort, Wolff characterized Red Bull's actions as embarrassing, indicating that their protest was more about gamesmanship than genuine concerns. He pointed out that it took Red Bull 2 hours after the race to officially launch their protest, revealing the tactical nature of their decision. Wolff criticized Red Bull's approach, suggesting that similar tactics were used in previous races, including the Miami GP, where their protests were similarly found lacking. In almost a bewildered tone, he emphasized the absurdity of the allegations, hinting that such attempts denigrated the spirit of the sport. Overall, Wolff's disappointment serves as a poignant reminder of the high-stakes environment in Formula One racing, where strategy often intertwines with sport. As fans, we're left to wonder, will this tug-of-war between rival teams escalate further in the ongoing championship battle? As tensions rise in Formula One, the fallout from the recent Canadian Grand Prix continues to unfold. Red Bull's protest against George Russell's victory stands at the center of the controversy. Verstappen, a fierce competitor, defended his stance, emphasizing the importance of racing integrity. Toto Wolff, a longtime friend of the Verstappen family, highlighted that Verstappen, a true racer at heart, likely wouldn't support such a protest. He criticized Red Bull's actions, labeling one protest as nonsensical and questioning the criteria for unsportsmanlike behavior that led to the intense 5-hour deliberation. On the other hand, Christian Horner, team principal of Red Bull, maintained that filing a protest was a necessary course of action. He expressed no regrets for bringing their concerns to the stewards, asserting that they acted within their rights as a team. This points to a clear divide in how teams approach the intense pressure of competition. After the race, Verstappen downplayed any ill feelings towards Russell's actions during the safety car situation. He described a moment of confusion where both drivers were trying to urge the safety car to pick up the pace, ultimately leading to a tangled situation on the track. This reflects the unpredictable nature of racing. where split-second decisions can lead to significant outcomes. But despite the ups and downs, George Russell's victory doesn't seem to have enhanced his prospects for a new Mercedes contract. While it was a notable achievement, the implications of the Grand Prix won't necessarily serve as leverage for negotiations. As fans, we'll be watching closely to see how this rivalry evolves in the coming races. Red Bull and Mercedes are locked in a fierce battle, not just on the track, but in the boardroom as well. Tensions continue to simmer, and the drama is far from over. Be sure to stay tuned for more updates on this unfolding saga as we follow the twists and turns of the Formula One season. Lando Norris experienced a moment of regret after an unfortunate incident during the Canadian Grand Prix, where he broke what McLaren considers their number one rule. This rule explicitly states that team drivers should not make contact with each other, a fundamental guideline for maintaining harmony and competitiveness within the team. As McLaren has been strengthening their position in the Formula One landscape, team principal Andrea Stella and McLaren Racing CEO Zak Brown recognized the importance of collaboration between Norris and his teammate Oscar Piastri. They understood that their future success would hinge on these two drivers working in synergy, rather than racing against each other as rivals. In an effort to promote this teamwork, McLaren introduced the concept of papaya rules in the latter half of the 2024 season. These rules emphasize that all drivers should exercise extra caution on the track, especially when racing against their own teammate. Stella highlighted the importance of seeing the checkered flag, stating that the focus should be on collaboration over competition to prevent a counterproductive mindset. Norris was succinct in interpreting the papaya rules, indicating that it's simple, just don't crash, that's all. However, during the intense moments of racing, even simple guidelines can become challenging. Fast forward to the 2025 Canadian Grand Prix, and the consequences of breaking this fundamental rule were felt. In the closing laps, Norris found himself battling with Piastri, inching closer to make his move. After a series of attempts to pass, Norris finally darted out from behind Piastri as they approached the front straight. Unfortunately, in a split-second miscalculation, Norris collided with Piastri, resulting in his front wing hitting the rear tire of Piastri's car. While Piastri managed to continue racing, Norris's day ended abruptly when he slid into the pit wall, forcing him to retire from the event. Reflecting on the incident, Norris expressed his disappointment to the media, acknowledging, "Our rule number one is to not make contact with your teammate, and that's exactly what I did." It's a sobering reminder in the high-speed world of Formula One that even the most experienced drivers can falter. The stakes are incredibly high, and maintaining focus on teamwork can be just as crucial as individual performance. The road ahead for McLaren and their drivers will require not only exceptional skill, but also unwavering commitment to the principles that govern their partnership on the racetrack. McLaren is more than just a racing team for Lando Norris, it's a family. Each weekend, he races not just for himself, but for every member of his team. When mistakes happen, like the recent crash, he feels that burden deeply. In the wake of the incident, Norris expressed his regret, admitting, "I'm not proud of that." He acknowledged the disappointment he felt in letting down his team and fellow driver, Oscar Piastri. His immediate response after the crash was to take full responsibility, reaching out to the team and personally apologizing to Piastri. This incident has sparked discussions within McLaren about potential changes in how they approach racing strategies, especially concerning team orders. Andrea Stella, the team principal, emphasized that they want to give both Lando and Oscar a fair chance to compete based on their performance rather than being overly controlled by team decisions. "We want to ensure they have opportunities to prove themselves," Stella said. "It's a delicate balance, as managing team dynamics while fostering competition among drivers is no easy task." He continued, highlighting the importance of steering clear of any contact between cars during races, which can lead to unfortunate accidents. In light of this crash, McLaren doesn't foresee changes in their recent approach. Instead, they are driven to maintain strong principles regarding safety and driver conduct. This was a lesson learned, reinforcing the need for drivers to be cautious and mindful on the track. As we move forward, the spotlight is on both Norris and Piastri. Their dynamics will play a huge role in shaping the future of McLaren racing. Fans are anxious to see how these talented drivers will navigate challenges while aiming for success. In the world of F1, unpredictable moments like this can steer teams towards growth and reflection. The response from both the drivers and management will determine how McLaren evolves in the competitive racing landscape. Stay tuned for updates on their journey as they strive for excellence on and off the track. Christian Horner has said, Red Bull preemptively approached the FIA race director to watch out for rivals, goading him. With Verstappen on 11 penalty points heading into the Canadian Grand Prix, the four-time F1 world champion is just a single penalty point away from triggering an automatic race ban. Verstappen moved on to 11 penalty points by way of a contentious incident at the Spanish Grand Prix while battling with George Russell. The Mercedes driver had dived up the inside of the Red Bull into Turn 1, resulting in Verstappen running through the escape area to maintain his position. Feeling Verstappen risked a penalty for going off track and maintaining an advantage, he was told to give the place to Russell and initially appeared cooperative. Releasing the throttle to let Russell go, Verstappen sped back up into the next corner and blocked Russell from turning in, causing contact between the two cars in the process. The stewards hit Verstappen with a costly 10-second time penalty and 3 penalty points as a consequence. Russell and Verstappen then locked out the front row in Canada. But there were no fireworks moments throughout most of the race, as the Red Bull driver proved unable to launch a full attack on the Mercedes. But, with the race neutralized under a safety car in the closing laps, following a clash between the two McLarens, Russell hit the brakes, a normal maneuver to maintain temperatures behind the safety car. Verstappen appeared caught out by the suddenness of the braking, sailing past the Mercedes as Russell radioed into his race engineer to report that the Dutch driver had overtaken him under safety car conditions, while Verstappen got onto his race engineer to point out the sudden braking. The stewards weren't going to pay any attention to the incident, as later documentation proved, but the matter still ended up before them as Red Bull lodged 2 protests against Russell in the aftermath of the checkered flag. Neither protest was upheld, with Russell's behavior found to have been normal and reasonable. One facet of Red Bull's case was that Russell had displayed unsportsmanlike behavior by taking to team radio to report Verstappen's, however inadvertent, overtake. During the period of time in which the protest cases were being held with the FIA stewards, Red Bull boss Christian Horner spoke to the media and revealed his team had raised concerns about rivals attempting to use gamesmanship to try to land Verstappen in trouble. "It's inevitable that there was going to be some potential gamesmanship," said Horner. "It's something that we raised after the driver's briefing with the race director, Rui Marcus, just so that they were mindful of it as well, because it's clear that that kind of stuff goes on. But Max, I thought he's been squeaky clean all weekend and drove a very good race." Sources have indicated a feeling that Red Bull's post-race protests may have stemmed from a general paranoia that rivals would set out to try to entrap Verstappen in a scenario that could land him penalty points. Being investigated for overtaking under the safety car could have resulted in such a scenario if the stewards had decided to investigate. Russell's radio message made no difference in the assessment of the moment. Horner confirmed that the approach to the race director had been made in light of comments made by Russell after qualifying. "We just said to the race director, look, could they please keep an eye on it, because there's been obviously comments that have been raised in the media. Just please keep an eye on it. So therefore you have the right as a competitor to do that, and that's what we've chosen to do, which is why Max and the guys are with the stewards now." It's the second time this season Red Bull has lodged a protest involving Russell, whose relationship with Verstappen had become more tense late in 2024, following an incident in last year's Qatar Grand Prix qualifying session. In Miami earlier this year, Red Bull had protested against Russell going too quickly through a yellow flag zone, which was also not upheld by the stewards. "It's certainly not personal to George," Horner said. I think it's the way that the regulations are. The regulations are pretty binary and pretty clear, so we put in a protest. The comment in question, which appeared to be said in a light-hearted nature by Russell, saw the British driver laugh off the prospect of first-lap fireworks between himself and Verstappen as he said, "I mean, I've got a few more points on my license to play with. So, yeah, let's see." Verstappen had been irked by the constant questioning regarding his penalty point situation, telling press conference host Tom Clarkson that "I don't need to hear it again," as he was asked about his approach to racing Russell in light of being on the verge of a race ban. It's really pissing me off. I mean, you were speaking about it on Thursday. It's such a waste of time. It's very childish. So that's why I also don't want to say too much because it's really annoying, this world that we live in. With Verstappen having made no attempt to point a finger of accusation at Russell as he spoke to Sky F1 after the checkered flag, the Dutch driver was seen walking up the paddock and chatting with Russell following the 45-minute hearing with the stewards. 5 hours and 38 minutes after the checkered flag, Russell's victory was confirmed as Red Bull's protests were turned away, and Horner explained that Verstappen had played no part in the decision to lodge protests in the first place. "No, not at all," he said, upon being asked if Verstappen had pushed for a protest. "Max was talking to you guys, the media, and had no idea it's within the competitor's right to raise a protest. It's €2,000 per protest, and we were surprised that they weren't noted and sent to the stewards.